Hi. I will tell you about 10 stories from our office and how we are thinking. And sorry for my English. The last lecture I gave in English is about 1 year ago, because we are working in the area of Germany, Austria, Luxembourg, and we only speak German there. What a pity. Yeah, this is when we came into villages or cities, mostly time the sites. And these are the clients. Mostly of them are mayors somewhere. Maybe I never met one, he was an architect before. Only people from the country, from the construction site and so. And that's our working place. So we changed our working strategy radically in the last 10 years or 15 years. And this is our setting. The settings of our production is a mixture between office, pubs, drinking good beer, eating good food, and working and creating the future of spaces, future of villages, future of city quarters. And always, we never eat alone. Basically, we eat together with people, with clients, with inhabitants of villages, of cities. And lunch break is, for us, always working. Yeah, Nonconform is the office I founded in the end of '99, together with a friend of mine. We were living together in a flat and drinking a few bottles of wine, and then we decided to start an office. We had no vitamin A. We were coming from the countryside of the mountains in the southern part of Austria, and had from the working class. So we had no one who asked us to plan, for example, a toilet or something like that. We had nothing to do, but we started an office. It's interesting because Henrietta told me that you are starting to work next year, because it's the last period for studying. So it's interesting to start directly after the studying an office. It's a big chance, but it's a high risk. Yeah. Now our team looks like that. We are about 15 people, and we have 7 offices now. This is one in Vienna, it's the biggest one. We also have an office in Berlin, and also a new office in Munich, and also in the southern part of Austria, in Moosburg, there where I'm living too. So I changed from Vienna to the countryside. I'm living in a village with about 4,000 inhabitants. I'm really on the countryside. We call it Fuchs und Hase sagen gute Nacht. That means animals say good night, and not the high life. So I'm living there with a family, and we already have there an office with 3 people. We have an office directly on the border between Austria and Germany and Bayern. And we have 2 offices, small offices in farmhouses, because a few of our employees also changed to the countryside. They came from that place and said, there's a farmhouse from my father, and I wanted to go there, and I will be maybe 25% of my life a farmer, and 75% I will work as an architect and for Nonconform, if it is possible. And this is one of these pictures. Our meetings, there in the farmhouse, are very interesting, because the good food and the situation and the feeling is not like the common feeling like you work in an office in a city, like in Vienna. So this is our structure. We have 6 branches, 3 in capitals and 3 on the countryside. Yeah, and this is our team at the moment. And not just architects, we have urban planners, we have teachers, we have people from communication. Yeah, it's a mixture. Our office is not only an architecture office, it is more. So, yeah. Our life journey. We started, as I told you, in the year 99, after drinking a few bottles of wine, to creating Nonconform. The starting point to find a name was the most creative process. Yeah. It's not Gruber and Nagela. It's not easy to pronounce. It's we had I think 100 or 200 or 300 names. At this moment in 99 or the 90s, at the end of the 90s in Austria, there were no one started to work with their own name. Querkraft, The Next Enterprise, Caramel, Feld 72, and so on and so on. So it was for us, it was a pressure to find a name, and we started as Conform. And then a Slovenian friend of us came in our office and said, no, you're not Conform, you're Nonconform. I said, yeah, this is a name. We will start with as Nonconform. And yeah, and the life journey was that we started in 99, and there was a first big crisis at about 2004, 2005. After 4 or 5 years is normal. When you're starting your office, just think that the first years are really, you're in a high emotions, and you think not a lot of, you just work. And then they began to think about structure, and then you started to discuss who you are and why I'm doing that, and I'm the right person. Is my partner the right person? Do we the right things? And for us it was 2005. 2010 there was another big change. We started to begin research, and now we are, and 2015 started the big office differencing in two parts, and now it's a interesting structure because we worked 1 year last year to changing radically our office organization system. Now we are not the office we were before. So maybe you will see after the lecture or ask me what it is. I can explain it. Also not in a few words. So it's an experience. 99, when we started our office, we had no vitamin B and no vitamin A, and we started to participating in competitions. We won competitions. We starting to build projects. We getting awards. Our first project was often awarded. We were shooting stars at that time, and also we were starting to work European. So we starting this European network Wonderland. This is also the reason why we met Henrietta Moravchikova, and I think it was 2002, 2003 at that time. So Wonderland was an exhibition tour with 99 young European architecture offices, starting in Austria, 9 offices in Austria, and then came at every 11 teams from every country. And then we made a tour, and in each country, 11 teams are participating. We started here in Bratislava with 11 teams, and then Czech Republic, then Germany, always 11 teams more and more and more. And then the Netherlands, then France, then Italy, Croatia, Slovenia, and then back to Austria. And at the end, we were 99 offices. And this was the final exhibition at the starting point. The starting point was in the year 2002 in a small town in Carinthia. And this was the final exhibition. At the beginning, we were 11 teams. At the end, we were 99 teams. And it was very interesting to connect with the same age scene in Europe. So it is a big, I'm proud about that my contacts to architects all over Europe came from that project. It was a self-initiated project. So we organized, we had the idea, we organized the money, we get European funding, and it was very, very interesting. And it was widen up your head for the perspective to work in Europe. Yeah. After this first interesting project and also getting awarded, we started with a big crisis in the year 2005 because we won a competition in a very historical village in Austria. And after this, it was also a very interesting project with one structure, landscaping. And after this winning, this was where the heads of the inhabitants. Yeah, what's that? No one could imagine the project, and we had get a lot of problems. And at the same time, we won another competition, and with the same problem. Yeah? A lot of protests, a lot of people, they were crying and shouting about this modern architecture and about, I don't understand what you're doing, and invest the money for fire strikers' shoes and not for architecture and so on. And the result for us, when we make an analysis, was that the problems came from bad briefings. Someone in the municipalities made one A4 paper, we want that and that kind of project, and then they made a competition, and then one young architect's office won. And then it was like a nightmare sometimes, because it was so hard for us. We had no money, we had projects in the pipeline, and a lot of crisis from the people, what to do. So we said, we have to give us a question for ourselves, how we should work in the future as architects, how we can change our working process. Because that bad briefings is not the first time, the second time it's a lot of that happens, and the young architects are always in a bit of strategy that they have to participate in competitions, but with that problems, it's not so easy to get a contract and to build. So, because we wanted to create Baukultur, a building culture, for villages, for schools, for cities, for the society, and we wanted to make the citizens happy. So this was our approach. And then, what was the result? The result was for us that we made a self-initiated 2 years research how to work in the future, how to work as an architect in the future, how to work for that topics in the future. And the result was that this is a normal architectural designing process. So that means, it's wrong. Sorry. This is a normal project, so that means there's the phase 0. I hope you know what that is. This is the briefing 0, the briefing phase. Then it's the designing and the construction side, and basically the people were invited at the end when the construction site is finished and the people or the citizens went in the buildings. And oftentimes they said, oh, this is not that what we wanted. And we said, we have to change our strategy and we have to push a lot of power in this phase 0 before the design process starts. And how can we do that? We developed a special designing method called Nonconform Ideenwerkstatt, in English, Nonconform on site. And our job is to work with 10, 20, 100, 1,000 people, inhabitants or clients, and to filter and to ask questions and to produce scenarios for that briefing. What are they want? And at the end, it should be the perfect solution for the topic. And this is our job now, from this 1,000 or 2,000 ideas from the inhabitants to create, at the end, one possible solution. And this is the method, the Nonconform Ideenwerkstatt method. We started first time at 2006 as a pilot and had a very, very interesting response. People were quite happy about that. Never in their life they worked with an architect in that atmosphere. And the end was that could be a job for us. No other architecture office maybe in Austria, or maybe now we can say also in Germany, worked like that method. And this is our USP at the moment. So what is that USP? That means we're going directly on site. If there is a village, a small or bigger one, if there's a school, an old school or a new campus, is a university, changing a university site, or going into the city, in city quarter. It doesn't matter what else. And we created there an office, directly on site. This is, for example, an image. We're creating an office for a few days, an open office. Basically 3 days. These 3 days is like an ideas festival. That means it's well organized, and we organized the 3 days about 3-4 months before. And in these 3 days, everything happens. People are coming. We are a huge team there. We're producing together the possible future. And at the end, there's a briefing for an architectural competition, for a direct contract for an architect, etc. And we using a lot of activating tools. That means we are working with the World Wide Web. We are working also analog, so that means with, for example, idea glasses here. We sprawl them in the whole village or in the whole city. We're working with posters, with postcards, everything you need with social media for activating the people, that they can participate. And also we making some installations. So for example, we making an installation like Christo. The places, they are the who we work with. We like maybe 2 or 3 days of working with the people on the site. It's a very interesting and a funny game to make it like that. And everyone in the village says, what's happened here? Ah, the Ideenwerkstatt, they will generate ideas. I have to go there. And also in the supermarket, you can see that, and web, and also some games in web. And it is very important to listen. So that this method, our method of creating architecture, changed also the habit of our employees and of us, that we had no answer from beginning. We listen. We learn to listen, and if it's possible, to listen long time and asking questions, listening and asking questions. And then motivate that the people are working. People have great ideas in their mind. A lot of people are afraid about I cannot draw, and so we said it's not necessary to make interesting draws. It's necessary to make some draws that we understand what you want to tell us. And involving kids, most important to creating a future or an answer of a future topic is to involving the kids. We're working with the schools, together with all schools, and with the teachers. The teachers gave them the questions, and they work. They work together. They're building models. They are creating drawings, and they get a place to present that, to making some presentations to the audience, to the mayor, to all other people they're interested in. This is our job, that the young kids came together for example, for the topic of creating a new design for a main square, for example, or creating a new design for a school. And also the teachers, and to create inspiring atmosphere. That's the reason why we brought together drinking beer and working hard. Because just working hard is too less, yeah? And drinking beer alone is too less. But combined both, it began a really inspiring atmosphere for creating some new strategies or so. And loving, of course. So when you're drinking beer, it's easier to love, and when you're drinking beer and work hard, it's much more easier to love, because it's working also with your brain. And this is what we like, yeah? This atmosphere for working. This looks so easy, but it's a really hard job. That when you're creating some not so easy question, when you're working on a not so easy question, this feeling. Last week I was in Germany, in North Rhine-Westphalia, for working 2 days with 35 city planners, and we had nearly the same fun. And we had no beer there. And they told us at the end, for we made the evaluation, it was very inspiring, and it was so funny, and that without alcohol. They said, yes, basically we have alcohol, but they forgot to buy them. So it's not necessary, but it's easier. Yeah, and at the end of these 3 days, our studio on the site is working really hard to produce the red line, and not the smallest common denominator. We are working at the best, at the exciting common denominator. So that means this is our job, to going a few steps further with the ideas from the people. And this sounds very easy, but it's not so easy. Yeah, and at the end, after 3 days of hard work, we're making a final presentation as an event, like the end of a festival. 3 days ideas festival. At the end is event with music and everything, and they know what to do after that presentation. The mayor know what to do and what the next steps are. And it's not the idea from the mayor or from someone, it's the idea from the common, from the people. This is, for example, a final presentation in Regensburg, is the second biggest town in Bavaria. It was the development of the whole area surrounding the train station. Yeah. Since 2006, about 70 or 80 total different processes, from very small village to capitals, from thinking about strategies against vacancies in areas, to thinking to the future of a region. Okay, a few examples. This was the first project we started when this was the winning competition. Maybe you remember this image. This was the project. It was the winning competition where we started to create this new method, and we tried as a pilot at that project how we can change our working. This was the model from the competition, and then we started with these workshops, with this working on site. This is the mayor, and it was quite interesting that the result was very, very interesting. Was very, very some puristic architecture, because at the end the project looked like that. It was is a historical town in Austria, and we designed one teppich, we call it, one carpenter, this topography, and from east to west in one strict design. And it was a space for people, so that means there is no signs for parking, is no signs for special areas for everything. So they can organize themselves what to do, and this is not so normal in a village like that. And another project is in Tyrol, and there we go one step further. So that means this is a village, very interesting village in the mountains, with a lot of vacancy, and there is a big hole in the middle of the center, and it looks like that when we came first time here. And at the end, we combined there an architecture, a competition with a participation process. This is not usual because we have strict legacy, and basically you cannot combine that. You have to make before a participation process, and then it starts the architectural competition, because there is not possible to make an interaction, because it's too high risk about the anonymität. Yeah. And we combined it with that the hearing, the competition hearing, or the colloquium, we say that this is the Nonconform Ideenwerkstatt is a part of that. Yeah? And that means the citizens, the architects, the politicians, and the jury came together for here 2 days. This is basically was the pilot in Austria. Never before someone made a process design like that. It was about 1 year of meetings before that can happen. And so that means at this hearing of the architectural competition, the architects, for example, here the black one, yeah, it's very easy to find an architect here, is sitting with the inhabitants, with the politicians and with the jury together in a 2 days workshop. And at the end, we changed the briefing. We made a prototype of a briefing before, and then after these 2 days of working, we changed the briefing and made some different solutions, and then they start the competition. So after a few weeks, the anonymous proposals from the participating architects came into the room, and then we made also an open jury process. So that means the inhabitants were a part of the jury. And the most interesting thing you can have as an architect, as a politician, or as a citizen is to participate on a jury process. It's very interesting because you understand why this project is the best project, and you have to discuss and you have to listen, and you have there a lot of arguments, and after 1 or 2 days jury process, you know, okay, this is the best project, and then there is no critic against it because it's clear in the head why exactly that project won and will build. Here are some pictures from the process, from the jury process. And at the end, there was a public presentation of the winning project, exactly just in time. And the winner is Rainer Köberl, one of the most famous Austrian architects in the middle. This is the mayor, and this is the, what means it, from the region, the highest politicians in the region. Yeah. The winning architects show the project, and then immediately after that, just a few weeks later, they starting to build the project. It was a very complicated program with living for young people and elderly people, with the new townhouse, with the public space, with everything what they needed in a small village to survive, and also to survive, the village survive, because they had a really big hole, a lot of vacancy, so it was not clear if the village have a future or will have a future. This is the mayor, and he's a very clever and smart guy, and he was quite happy about this project, and he was so happy after that he made now a few competitions more with architects, and this is now nearly an architecture museum, becoming an architecture museum as a village, and they won also the European Village Award 2016 with that project and a few other projects. So it's one of the most of the topic of the on der Spitze of European villages. Another project is to creating living space or housing space together with a group of people. Basically, someone, an investor or developer, built a house or something like that, and then they're looking for the people. And the vice versa process is called Baugruppe, building group, or I don't know what's in English exactly. And we had the possibility, it's a village about 30 minutes outside of Vienna, to create with about 40 people together a housing project. So that means it's like a very interesting designing process. So that means there was a core group of that people. They were the partners of our process, and it was a step by step from nothing. There was just the idea to build a living space for people, then founding was Grundstück? Yeah. The site, yeah, sorry. And then creating everything from the and then just organizing the money and then creating the project. And now it looks like this. It's opened about 3 months ago. It's the construction is made via wood. It looks like that. So this is not is a possible way to going into a future, and not just with one brain, with a lot of brains, and creating atmosphere. Okay, another project is in Styria. It's called an old and empty space school, and to combine 3 schools in this big old building. This was the starting point. Looks like that. And then we started with our process, 3 days in that school, with all kids, with all teachers, also with the parents, with the politicians, together. And at the end, there was an idea how to redesign that school, and then starting the construction site, rebuilt, and after 2 years, we opened the school with a big event, and the school looks like that. Also a new interior design. A lot of flexible. It's changing the school with open, a lot of glass inside, and flexible classes. It's more or less a learning landscape inside this old, big building. And this was just possible because of this intensive working together at the beginning. And that changed the mind in the head. Okay, this is a project in Germany. It's one of these normal villages or cities, small cities outside of the capitals. And they had a big problem. In the middle of that main square, there was once a brewery, and then there was a sausage company, and they gone, and 10 or 12 years this big industry was empty space, and they said what to do with this empty space in the main square. And when we came first here, it looked like that, and there was 18,000 square meters of waste in the city center. The mayor said to us, what to do? This is a problem in a lot of villages and cities in Europe, just like that, industrial changing areas. This is the mayor, and this is the friend of the mayor in the municipality, and these 2 guys were the turbo for that project. And they also starting to making a campaign against empty space and empty houses. Ich bin als nächstes dran means I'm the next one, yeah, who then to destroy. And with this campaign, people began to think maybe it's better that someone go in this house and not to destroy that house. So it's like a changing strategies with a marketing campaign. And also he was, the mayor was a fighter against a big shopping center in the middle of nowhere, outside of the village. It's about 2 years of fight against everything and everyone, and he won. And so it was that gives the power to invest in that city center project. We started with this our process, 3 days, ideas festival, and to create the strategy was a lot of fun too. Here we worked with this in winter time with this cap as a speaking stick. And it's quite funny when everyone who wanted to speak something or tell us something have to put on this one, and then it was interesting. Yeah, at the end there was a strategy, and this is the end of our process. It looks like that. Yeah, there is nearly an image for the future, but you cannot understand the architecture because we are always before a competition. We cannot go in very deeply into the architectural design. We have to be a bit of waste design, yeah, making waste design or very blurred design. And after that, it started a really design process with architects on site and also competition. And this is the real project now. And they're starting to destroy a part of this old industrial area with a big event. And then the caterpillar came, and they're starting to work. And this is from May 2018. You can see here a part of that area is now rebuilt. A part they will build in the next 2 years. And this is the construction site party. I was there. I was invited for a lecture. And I was very surprised. They were discussing about 12 years what to do. In 3 days, we had the idea what to do together with the brain from the crowd, from the citizens. And after that, and the realization is nearly that result from our 3 days designing process. Yeah, it was interesting because also they built the project in 3D, and every citizens can go through the future of this townhouse and this marketplace. And this was the yeah. Also, the mayor made a charter for city development. It was very interesting. Cities need very strong center. There is the city life, and we have to create this also for the future. They do not affect. Everyone is creating projects in the surrounding and not in the center. Yeah, and this is the investor, one of the investors. He's basically a producer of cheese. And this was the idea. We found that guy whilst our process that he said, I need a very special basement for the cheese Reife, for the cheese process, the cheese working process. Yeah, this is part of that tunnel. Yeah. Okay. In the year 2012, we said that now our office changed a bit in another direction. We are also an architecture office, but we are more or less help us. Yeah? We help that good projects came into the world. And we said, what are new products, new projects? We have began have fun with research, and we said, we're making 2 years self-initiated research process again, and the result was a new building typology for urban development. It's a building system where it's possible to make a kindergarten or to live or to make a school or to work. We called that project the new townhouse, the work-life building. And it was a research project, and then we're starting to find some investor to build that, and at the moment we are quite happy because we found one, and we are starting now to build one of this prototype of this new townhouse with working, with kindergarten, with producing, with atelier, with office, with living, with housing in Vienna. Here are some images, and I hope next year or so I can show also pictures of that new townhouse. And in the year 2015, we said we have so many students, architecture students, and people who wanted to work in our office because we're making not just cool renderings, we're producing with the normal people. And this is interesting that a lot of young people wanted to work in our office. And we said it's okay when they came, but they cannot, they just can a few things we need. At the university, I don't know how it is here. At the university, they learn drawing plans and render and maybe writing, but a sentence like that, too complicated. But no one can moderate, no one can work with about 100 people. So it's totally different job. And then we said we have to organize a knowledge transfer. And for our employees, we create the Nonconform Academy. So that means all 2 months, for 2 days, all people from our office came together and learn from each other, and learn methods, and learn to moderate, and learn to produce in stress, and learn to work with people who are not very easy. And so it was a very interesting situation that at the end we had so many people, they asked us also to participate at this academy, that we created an open Nonconform Academy for the public. So that means we train now people to learn participation processes, participation planning processes. And we have 6 levels and 6 modules. So to understand the culture and the craft of participation, what do you need for a funny process at the end, also to organize a very interesting result? Yeah, at the moment we're quite happy that this academy really is in function, and we have nearly 2 months and 2 days workshop, and the participants are from Germany and Austria, from city planners to politicians, from architects to journalists, from architectural communication people to students. So it's very interesting to learn how to work with people and how to work in planning processes. Okay, now I'm nearly at the end, and at the end I wanted to show you one video. It's in German language, sorry, but it's 3 minutes. There's one thing we're doing every year. It's called the Empty Space Conference. And the Empty Space Conference is our think tank. And the Empty Space Conference is every year has one special topic. So that means, for example, empty space and villages, or empty space and tourism, empty space and agriculture, empty space and schools. And the last conference was in October in Brandenburg, about 1 hour outside of Berlin, in this special location. This is an old power station. It was an empty space, a really very empty space. And one artist bought that 1.5 year ago. And at this location, we had the conference with about 150 people from all interest groups. That means from politics, from journalists, from investors, and the topic was empty spaces and industrial spaces. Because in Europe we have a lot of, maybe 10,000, I don't know exactly, 10,000 of empty industrial spaces around, and a lot of them are in countrysides, and a lot of them are very interesting, has a very interesting structures, and it's worth to think about maybe how to bring new life in that. Thank you.
This is Rick from our second album, also in the kind of open theme for a song called Soul Creek. Check it out.
This was a very nice final statement. Okay, so thank you very much, Roland, for this exciting tour to your strategies and tools. Now it is place for your questions. I'm curious how it will be today, how full of life you are, my dear audience.
Was it interesting or not? For whom was it interesting? For whom was not interesting? Be honest. Okay, I have a surprise. All people who ask me a question get things to publication, exactly. Yeah. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Okay, I'm very grateful that finally the last speaker created the scenario how to encourage you to ask questions. So please, there was already the first question.
Motivation. I've heard your experience with working with the municipality, because I have some similar experience working for years there, but not so interactive. It was so hard. So how did you succeed in this communication with the citizens? Because usually where I was working, the mayor didn't want this interaction or opinion of others. It was just what politics is and nothing more. So how did you succeed in this?
This is the best question. So you get definitely one. How to persuade a mayor? This is a lecture. Maybe I should give a lecture about that. How persuade the mayor to that the mind of that guys accept meaning from people. And I have no answer. No, because it's interesting is that when a mayor called us to work for them, basically a mayor called us, or a mayor organized that someone called us, that the mayor said to call us. They go to the phone and call Nonconform. So that means there must be some decision before, because it's not so easy to phone someone who is the name Nonconform and to ask them to work for us, so they know what they will get. And if there is not this possibility, then the best catch the mayor, set him in a car, and drive to 3 or 2 interesting projects, and have time to persuade. And after that trip, you can make the trip you and the mayor, or you can organize that the mayor and a few people going somewhere, listening, watching, hearing, working, and came back, and then they said, okay, we will try something new. It's the best way to get in the first step, for example. But this is work. Yeah, this is work, but this is interesting work. Mostly of our projects we start with exactly that process. It's called learning journey, and it's maybe normally 2 days with a bus, 10, 15, 20, 25 people. It doesn't matter where you go. Best practice should be, and not just watching architecture, watching the process of architecture. So learn the mayor of this other village, get in contact and making a talk, and to understand the strategy, not the design. Understand how they find a solution, how they involve the people, and then it's easier. But it's a hard job. Yeah? So it's concrete in their mind, and they have an idea, and nothing else is possible.
Perhaps one thing is, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I have some. The one thing is to start this dialogue, and the other thing is to keep it, like to make it sustainable. Because I think that perhaps your experiences are different, but probably many dialogues started and many of them collapsed because of some kind of circumstances. So, what's the key for the sustainability of such a dialogue?
This is just sustainability what we are making. Yeah, it's think one step more and 1 month longer about what to do, and not build the wrong thing, build with the right materials, with on the right side, with the. So it's a very sustainable process. Everything what we're doing, not making a mistake. Yeah, and you have to understand. You have to tell that guys that every decision they make is a decision for about 30, 50 years, or maybe longer, and it's worth to think maybe 1 month longer, or it's better to. When they have wanted to change something, then it's a process about 3, 5, 7 years. So it's not the same cyclus as the die Wahlen, the elections. Yeah, so that means this is a big problem. Yeah, genau, the election of the European foundations. Exactly. You have to bring that together. Okay.
You said you were the first studio using this way of work in Austria.
Yeah.
So did you inspire also other studios who are now working the same way?
The same way not. The same way not. But I think I cannot exactly give an answer here in Slovakia or in the former Eastern Europe countries. There is a different approach to participation. I know, because we once worked with Boris Ryban in what's his hometown. Marianka, yeah, exactly. We made the same process nearly. We started the process in Marianka and to redesign this main square, and it was not so easy. It's definitely harder, but we influenced, I think, a few offices and a few young people to making shorter processes. So, oftentimes a participation process is a long time, and it's all maybe 10 months or 5 months. Is an evening session or so, and this is boring, and it takes so long time. And we said no, we have to organize nearly an event. It's a festival. It must be fun, and so I think yes, a bit of influence, but and I think that in the western part of Europe, and where we are working, nearly no mayor and no urban developer or urban planner can making decisions without participating the people. Because afterwards they get so much pressure and so much problems. So they involve the people before. And so we have so lot of things to do. And I think it's a job for also, it's a very interesting job also for young people, because it's an architectural job, it's designing future, it's creating future, and is preparing a good future, is preparing the best solutions. So I think if you are interested, just start to design something like we're doing.
I have one more question.
Two, you want to have two?
I'm fine with one. Do you think there's some difference? Actually, you know, there's difference, but what kind of difference is between Eastern and Western citizens? Do you think the post-Soviet countries have this history of like people don't use tool of democracy so much, or they?
Yeah, I think there's a difference, but I was a lot of times here in especially in Slovakia between 2002 and 2008, before this crisis starts. We worked with Boris Ruban and also Viktor Šavik, Barak Architekti, on some processes. There is definitely a difference, and the difference is the people are not so easy get involved. They are not so interested. It's a bit lethargy. I don't know what is the right word.
But I mean, it's connected with the historical
exactly.
experience
Yeah.
that the people here, they are not used to that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They have never been asked.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
last 40 years, nobody asked them, so they are in the process to learn this.
Yeah. But I think it changed. It's also
Yeah, slowly.
slowly, yeah. But it's a process, yeah. Of course. When we worked in Marianka, at the beginning, Boris said always, "No one will come," or maybe 5 people. Then more people came, and it was interest, yeah. And it was discussions, and so it's not maybe 100 or 200, but 10, 15. It's enough to work. With a high quality and with a pressure to understand what the needs are and so on. Yeah.
When you work with citizens, do you usually receive lots of different ideas, or do they have a similar idea about what to be created in their town, or is it always different?
I would say 70-80% are nearly the same ideas. So that means people are, just look at your parents or so, yeah? Where they are living and what they are interested in to change. There are small things. For example, the lamp is not on, or you have to maybe some preparing better, what means it? Small things, yeah? Small things. This is 70%. Yeah? Small things from the environment. They wanted to change or wanted a bit of better life. But maybe 30% or 20-30% are very interesting and creative ideas, Spinnereien. What means Spinnereien? Crazy things. Yeah? Crazy things. And this is important. Yeah? The other things you have to, this is the housework. It's okay. But with crazy guys, you can really work and creating interesting future, because these are ideas that not usual, yeah, and they came definitely. This is not, and if they not came in an easy way, you have to ask stupid questions. For example, when you ask stupid questions, then is the possibility that something crazy come up, yeah, and then you can work with is what means it? It's schneller. The English faster. I should speak more English. Not just working in German language areas. It's definitely when you're not so speaking not so much English, you don't use it. You're not in a habit to use it.
You should start some processes.
Yeah, I have to improve my English. Yeah, speak faster. But interesting is we always, when we're making the process like that, we creating these crazy tables, yeah, with crazy questions, and every one of the guys have to participate. Yeah? And with these crazy questions, you jump in another dimension, yeah? And then it becomes funny, and you combine things that possible not on the first moment they're not combined. Yeah? So yeah, maybe 80% is normal and 20% is interesting, and but you cannot focus just on the interesting. You have also worked there because the others gave this okay. Yeah, this okay that this is interesting. Maybe in future.
I will help you with the distribution. Okay.
Okay.
There was another question.
Yeah, maybe just before you ask the question, I wanted to ask them. They already asked a question. Where you are coming from? Coming from the metropolitan region Bratislava or from somewhere on the countryside in Slovakia?
I'm coming from one big metropolitan country, Macedonia.
Macedonia, okay. This is.
Where it is?
Yeah.
It's not in Slovakia. It's
No. I know. No.
not yet.
You came from the capital, yeah.
It's on the Balkan Peninsula.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Okay.
under Serbia.
Yeah.
South.
Yeah. Okay. No, you came from the capital there, or not?
Close to the capital.
Okay.
I'm from originally I was born in Kernica, which is a very small mining town. And then later I lived in Nitra, which is...
You live in Nitra, okay?
I don't. I live here most of my life.
Okay.
In Bratislava. That's my
Okay.
story.
I'm from Bratislava.
Bratislava.
Okay, I'm from Košice, but I live here. And I'm curious what have led you to make another research? Because when everything worked very well for you, what was the point? Why do you want to make another research?
You mean if research from our office?
Yes.
Because it's you cannot. Now we have a lot of ideas in our mind and questions in our mind. For them, we're looking for answers. And if you have time, or if you organize time, then, and if you give them space and you organize, for example, money, then these answers could be future jobs also for us. So it was this making research in our office is now one of our columns. So at every year we parking a few money for research processes, and the topics are coming from our work, from our minds, from things to save the world or something like that. Because when you're making projects like that, we also auch getriebene, what means it? Pushed, yeah. Also we are in this. Every day is someone's calling, and you have no time to sit down, you have no time to think about phenomena, you have no time to think about other connections, and so this is it's becoming more and more a part of our job in the office, to making research.
I distribute the book. Is it okay?
Miss Assistant, can you please
Thank you.
bring?
Of course.
Thank you very much.
With pleasure.
One thing is interesting now because the language. Yeah, we are working just in German, nearly in German language countries, because to make a participation process in English is not possible, because so many informations in between they're necessary to understand. You lose when you're speaking in English. So when we are working, for example, now we worked in Luxembourg, French speaking, then we involve French speaking people in our office. Otherwise, it's not possible to work. You need to understand the in between this small, what means it? Die Sachen dazwischen. Yeah.
So it's not just that you need to understand speak the language perfectly, but to understand the thinking.
The dialects in this our space, the German, Austrian, Luxembourg, Netherlands, and so on space is about 85 million people. Yeah? So it's a lot of, and I think there are 100 regions, and in every region they have a special dialect. And it's not so easy to come, for example, somewhere in Eastern Germany, in a small village, you came in, you understand train station. Yeah, this is what I call it. You understand nothing, because it's a special sound. You need, for example, a few hours until understand what they want. Yeah? And then became interesting. Okay. So, you, Anton.
And do you usually get the proposals from the villages or cities, or you sometimes you have to find some problems, for example, in the village or in the city, and give the proposal?
Basically, they came with a proposal. What is the problem? And our job is, and it needs, is maybe the longest time in organizing this process is what is the question, and what is the right question, and what is the area working with. Nearly every city or village came with we wanted to work about everything, and we said no. What is the real? Where is the area? Where is the Brennpunkt? And then we reduce, and at the end, I like this job to reduce. There's maybe one small place, or one small quarter, or one small 3 buildings or so. This is the job where you can work, and all other answers for the whole village or so is coming from that answers at that project, at that buildings. And this is hard job to reduce, because they are quite happy to work when we would work about everything. But everything you cannot find people they work with you when you talk about everything. You have you need one intelligent question for one problem area. We're working always about space. Yeah? We're not working about the future of food or so. Yeah? There's always something connecting with space. You're coming from? Are you coming from?
From Poland.
From Poland?
Yeah, from small village.
Small village. How many inhabitants?
1,000.
1,000.
1,500.
This is really very small. Okay, so Macedonia, Poland, and so it's very international here. Great. You're coming from?
France.
From France? Okay.
From a small village.
Okay.
And do you sometimes share your methods about this process with other studios in Europe or in the world? Because I see that some studios try to work in participation process, and maybe you have all different ideas and good ideas to share as you do in Austria.
this is also a very good question. We tried once to build up something like a network in Austria and Germany, but it's not so easy, because a network with offices who making participation processes is very boring. Because they're always just talking about methods and about. It's much more interest when you having a topic, for example, this empty space and maybe industrial culture, and then involving, for example, a lot of other offices and so on. That we are doing. So it's we are well connected with urban catalysts in Berlin and so on. We're sharing our knowledge. We are working together sometimes. But there is definitely no network at the moment. But it could be a job for the next generation to build up a network for architectural offices with participation, with a part of participation in their office.
When not speaking about participation, the Wonderland was already kind of network, because it was not only about exhibiting the work of the offices, but it was about co-working, about doing a common research on functioning of architectural professions. So it was very much about
exactly, and also this one,
yeah,
and the Wonderland network was also a part of how to start an office. This was one of our main topics in the year 2004, 2005 was how to start an architectural office in Europe after studying. Yeah? And it was interesting. We made a research. We made there is also a book you can buy now. It's called the Wonderland. The Wonderland, this book and the Wonderland magazine. Wonderland magazine, how to start an office in Europe. The totally different licenses, where is cheapest to start, where is most expensive to start, where is most hard to start. For example, Austria is very hard to start an office because you have a lot of exams and then came into the chamber of architects. So it's very hard. And there are other countries where it's very easy. You have no exam to make. You have always finished studying, but there's no exam to come in a chamber. Yes. The chamber is nearly cheap, yeah, or for free. So, for example, in Germany, you have no exam to go to the chamber.
But it's not really cheap.
It's not very cheap, yeah. Different thing. I think in the Netherlands is nothing. So everyone can go to the Netherlands chamber and become an architect, for example, and so on. Yeah, but this was 2004, 2005. Maybe it changed. Maybe it changed until now. I don't know exactly.
And how do you communicate with your office members? Because I can imagine it could be complicated because they are spread on 6 different places. And if you have, for example, a meeting with citizens, there must happen so many things. So how?
This is the reason why we changed our organizational structure in the year 2017 and 18. For example, every Monday, like today, Monday morning, everyone, it doesn't matter where he or she is, at home, in the bed, or drinking coffee at home, or sitting in the office, sitting in one of these offices, is connected via Skype for the morning show fix. So that means the Skype has about 10, 15 partners. For example, in Vienna, sitting 10 people, in the other office in the farmhouse, 1, and everyone is participating in this show fix. So that means this is our weekly or 2 weekly everyone correspondence system, and we have a special online platform. It's called our Nonconform newspaper. This is a web platform, so everyone can sharing informations, new things, stories, and there are some musts to read and some things you can read. And 2 times a year, or maybe 3 times a year, everyone is coming together for example, for the Christmas party next week. Christmas party is very important because it's going 1 or 2 days. It doesn't matter if it's day or night. And then we have, it's called Start des neue Jahrklang, so a start in the new year workshop, 2 days workshop, everyone is participating. And then there is 2 times a year, maybe a together workshop or a trip somewhere to learn each other, to learn from each other, to learn each other, to know each other, and also to show something what we built or what colleagues made, or just enjoy the nature also, or enjoy a city. But this is work. Yeah, this is sharing knowledge and is know the people. Yeah, is. Okay? You're welcome.
Only 2 left.
2 left. You have to say where you are coming from.
From Hamburg.
From Hamburg. Achso, du verstehst ja Deutsch dann. Dann hätten wir das auch auf Deutsch machen können.
This was the voice always telling you the right word in English.
Okay, ja.
This was really...
Na, der Vorteil ist, dass die Deutschen lernen besser Englisch in der Schule als wir. Und ich bin schon, ja, technische Schule, wenig Englisch. Ja. So, technical school, bad English. Yeah. Translation. I went to technical school and bad English. Yeah. She was before, and then, yeah, she was before.
Okay, so what kind of projects are most interesting for you, and what kind of projects do you like the most? And if you take all the projects that are offered to you, or if you sometimes have to turn some down?
The second question was if
you take all the projects offered to your office, or if it happens that you sometimes have to deny something or turn down some projects and offer.
That you refuse to work on something.
which project we like most. The diplomatic answer would be the project I'm working at the moment, because it's not so easy to say which project. I cannot give a good answer. There are some project with Strahlkraft. Was heißt Strahlkraft? With lighting factor. I don't know what is it.
Radiation.
Radiation. Yeah. Responsive. You get awarded and so on, and then you get involved a bit more because you're telling that project more often than other projects. I think one answer could be the project we started. Yeah, there are 2-3 projects in my heart. So the first project we made when I was after the studying, and we won a lot of awards and so on. Or the first project when we started with this Nonconform Ideenwerkstatt process, the first. I remember it very well because everything was new. You were totally open. You were really nervous. Or the first time when we made something in the school, because it's totally different process. Same idea, same 3 days, but totally different process in a school than in a village or in a city. First big city project, it was in Innsbruck, and we had a lot of discussion and it was a horror, really. It was crying and shouting and everything, and never in my mind I'm making something in in a city for, there was a big housing project to more density for a housing project. Horror. Yeah. But after that, we said, okay, interesting, we have to change something. So maybe these are the, from myself, because I'm also the person in the office who starts to create something new and going and testing. I'm the pilot, oftentimes, and this is interesting. And the second question was?
What if sometimes happens that you just refuse to work on it?
Okay, yeah, okay. Yes, last week. For example, yeah, we starting to work and then we worked for a month and then we said, no, it's not possible to work. And we sent the money back and sent a nice email and said, it's not possible. Sometimes, yes, we have to, because it's too complicated, is too, sometimes we get involved in this mediation. If our job is more developing a future of a space and not mediation. Mediation is two crises. One is the strong, maybe the strong politicians and the strong citizens fighting against one project. So, and then they ask us help them to going a next step. This is not possible, because if there is an infight, then you need definitely another method, and you have to make mediation. That means to have them put a bit in this direction, and you need other tools. And now we are 3 persons of our office studying now mediation, because sometimes we need it, but this is not our main focus. And then we said, no, it's not possible to do this job. And we say, just go to them, or then they can help you. Okay? So, the last but not the least. Doch, yeah, the last and the least.
Usually, the main.
But Nachiba, you're coming from?
From a small town in the middle of Slovakia.
And small town means? 8,000? Okay.
Usually the majors invite you to create an event of participation, to create a brief for competition, or to help yourself to design something.
Both. Basically, maybe 90% of our job is to help to create the brief for a competition. And maybe in the last years, more and more, we also organizing the competition then, because we have now also the knowledge, and sometimes with partners. So we are competition process organizer. Sometimes we also the architect, but this is just, it's not possible for public projects, because public projects is to make a competition is necessary, European law and so on. For private, it could be possible to design. For example, this building group is this people, is this 50 people. This is a private investor. We created the design, the brief, and also then the planning process. Or the school, it was a research project, and we made also from the first phase 0 until the phase 10, everything in our office. But most of the time is just the Aufbereiter.
And can you take also the part in like your competition you made? You are making a competition
And then you win the competition.
No, we organize the competition.
Okay.
We organize the competition. Sorry. No, we organize the competition. Okay. Not we making the competition, we organize the competition. But if it's sometimes we also participate in the competition, because when everyone, this is possible, when everyone who is participating in a competition have the same information. Yeah? Our results, yeah? Everyone have our results, then we can also take part. but they never won. So it's not, because you are too involved in that project. Yeah, it's interesting, because then you know so many details that's not possible to make the big geste. Yeah. So I think it was 2-3 times we did it at the beginning. We changed definitely when just analyzing the process of our method. At the beginning, our method was a voting at the end of the work of the 3 days, a voting of the best idea. And then we had once a very, very big disaster in one village with a fight and with blood and everything, yeah, because it was it was not so easy, yeah. And then we changed the voting because it's too stupid, yeah. This voting process it sounds great and it's very funny and so on, but it's not. You have to be careful about that, because the people they are in the room can vote what's happened with them the outside, yeah? And then we changed it. No, too dangerous for the future. Otherwise, people will give us something in the yes, and then we can go to hospital, and then we can close our office and so on. Then we change no voting. All right.
Okay, so we finished the barter system of questions.
Yeah. Can I ask 2 or 3 questions to the audience?
But we have no books for you.
Yeah,
You
no books. No,
already-
just questions.
I have one.
Here's no question.
Do you think this participating method is the best one? Because some buildings in history hadn't been built if the people were involved. For example, the Eiffel Tower in Paris, the half of citizens of Paris hated it and half loved it.
No, so participation is not the solution for everyone, and for every topic and for every project. Sometimes sometimes it's good to do it, and sometimes it's more or less could be a problem, and you have to design in the before if it is necessary or not necessary. And I'm not the prayer, and I'm not a secte. I'm not the speaker of a secte that participation is. You have to do participation. No, yeah. Sometimes it's very clever and you need it, and sometimes maybe an Eiffel Tower and so on. It's you have to do it. Just do it, and not ask too much people. If you need this icon or something like that. My question is, so you are finishing studying next year, and I will ask a question. Who of you will start office immediately after finishing the study? No one. Why not? Yeah, great.
Already did.
Already did, yeah. Who already have an office? You. Good luck. Yeah. Good decision. Good decision. And who will go back to the region you're coming from and will work as an architect there? One.
Are you serious?
No, one, just one. Who will go back?
What do you say with region? Is it like
The region means, it could be when I said the village where she's living in 1,500 and she has one project 2 years. The region means going back to maybe in the middle of Slovakia or in the region to France, or I don't know. How many people in there? Like this, not like this. Don't be shy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 10%.
Now it looks better than
About 10%. And all others wanted to live in the big urban areas.
No. We can enlarge the question. Who would like to stay in Bratislava?
Genau. Who would like to stay in Bratislava? 10%, 15%? Who would
like to leave Slovakia?
leave Slovakia? Okay.
Now they are all going to Holland because of this.
No. No. Okay.
But actually it is quite surprising because this was one of our goals when creating this project, that we would like to encourage the people to go back to the regions they came from, because we, during these 3 series, we actually show that there are the possibilities in the regions.
Definitely.
There are the big stars coming from the regions because they return back to the regions.
So a lot of architects I met, they work in the regions, they have so much to do, and because you are the champion in the region. If you are clever and if you are not shy to make a jogging session with the mayor or running, or you go to some rituals, so it could be very, very easy to start an office when you're going to the countryside somewhere. And it's much harder to open an office in the metropole area, because then you need definitely the way into competitions. When you're in countryside, the competition is not always the right answer, and it's not always the way you came to the best project. So it's easier to start when you start. Is someone want to come to Vienna? No one? Okay.
Just for Christmas.
Christmas is good, yeah. Of course. Good.
But perhaps some of them are coming to Kärnten.
No one.
Be careful.
I don't think so. And is someone interested in such as work process as we're doing? Or is this totally boring and it's too hard work with people and with one?
I would say I'm interested also to look up for maybe some, how you say it, like when I can apply like a student for kind of a workshop or something like that. Maybe I would do in the future.
You too? Yeah. More. Icebreaker. She was the icebreaker. About 10 people. Okay.
I'm also interested how to make people in Slovakia participate more, because I was working on this health participation. It was about civic one. And there were so few people coming to the meetings. So in future, I'm curious to see in future how this population change.
In Poland, it's very hard to do that participation events, especially in villages. For example, I also made some participation action in some village in Poland, and the head of the school, the director of the school, made the meeting with himself, because he said that
he made a meeting with himself. Great. I'm making a participation process. I made a meeting with myself. This is enough. This is good.
He said that he knows and needs of the pupils the best. So it's hard.
Say hello to my kids, please, like this, that they know where I am. Can you? This is good. Perfect. Because they're always asking me where you are. Papa, you are not here. I want to talk about football with you. And you're not here. Where you are? And then I send a picture. So many people. It's okay. You see, it's easier to making a dialogue as to making a lecture.
Yes,
because this is
for both sides.
Of course. So I think I have to change the lectures when I'm going to university because this is boring. I could show that in 5 minutes, but then making some learning some sessions maybe is easier. Learning moderate and then testing and working on questions is easier than maybe more funny than listen to some clown outside. Okay. Merry Christmas.
Okay, so you are approaching to the finale.
I don't know because she's.
I wanted to ask if there are. Oh yes, some people are already leaving or preparing themselves for next shooting time.
Exactly.
Okay. Are there still some questions from your side without books only? If not, I can ask you questions in private circle, not directly here. So, Roland, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for introducing your tools and testing some new tools also in a teaching process. So, perhaps you can say once again.